Stop believing that your quiet voice makes you more likable. It doesn't. It makes you forgettable. Women are taught that softness is power, that being agreeable will keep them safe. But what they never tell you is this: the more you dilute your voice to protect other people's comfort, the more you erase your own existence. And slowly, silently, you disappear behind a polished, acceptable version of yourself. Have you ever noticed how you start your sentences with apologies? How you soften your truth with maybe or I think? How you shrink your own certainty before anyone else even challenges it? That's not humility. That's a conditioned reflex, a survival pattern, a cage. And here's the brutal truth. Every time you hold back what you really want to say, you are not protecting peace. You are betraying your own identity. Keep doing this for another year. And it won't just cost you opportunities. It will cost you your sense of self. Your voice will become so unfamiliar that even you won't recognize it anymore. This is not a lesson on how to speak better. This is a confrontation, a psychological surgery, because your voice isn't weak. You've just been taught to abandon it. I didn't lose my voice overnight. I trained it to disappear. I remember sitting in a meeting, feeling the weight of an idea pressing against my chest, begging to be heard. My mind was clear. My logic was solid. But when the moment came, my voice softened, hesitated, diluted itself before it could even land. I might be wrong, but that was always how it started. Not because I doubted my intelligence, but because somewhere along the way, I learned that certainty in a woman's voice could make people uncomfortable, and discomfort meant risk, rejection, disconnection. So I adapted. I polished my tone until it was harmless. I wrapped my thoughts in layers of politeness until they were almost unrecognizable. I told myself it was emotional intelligence, maturity, grace, but it wasn't. It was self-betrayal, repeated so many times that it started to feel like personality. And the cost was invisible at first. It showed up in small ways, the ideas I never fully expressed, the boundaries I never clearly set, the yes I gave when my entire body was screaming no. But over time, those small fractures became something deeper, something harder to ignore, a quiet erosion of self-respect. I would walk away from conversations, replaying them in my head, thinking of everything I should have said, everything I could have said, if only I had trusted my own voice in that moment. And that's when it hit me, the breaking point I could no longer ignore. My voice wasn't the problem. My relationship with my own worth was, because vocal authority isn't about sound. It's about alignment. It's about whether your internal truth and your external expression exist in the same system or in conflict. And mine were at war. I believed I had value. But I spoke as if I needed permission to prove it. I believed I deserved respect. But I communicated as if I was negotiating for it. That contradiction was the real cage. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Because the truth is, your voice will always mirror your internal hierarchy. If you place other people's comfort above your own truth, your voice will reflect that. It will hesitate. It will soften. It will shrink, not because you are weak, but because you are prioritizing survival over self-expression. And here's where everything began to change for me. I stopped asking, how can I sound more confident? And I started asking, why am I afraid to be heard exactly as I am? That question led me somewhere uncomfortable, but necessary. I realized I had built my identity around being liked, not being real. And that identity came with rules. Don't be too direct. Don't be too loud. Don't make people feel challenged. Don't take up too much space. So every time I spoke, I was filtering myself through those invisible rules, editing my truth in real time until what came out barely resembled what I actually meant. That's when I understood something that changed everything. Self-mastery doesn't begin when you control how others perceive you. It begins when you stop editing yourself to manage their perception. That was the Stoic lesson I had been avoiding. I could not control whether people would like my tone. I could not control whether my words would be accepted. I could not control whether my presence would make someone uncomfortable. But I could control one thing, whether I chose honesty over approval, whether I chose clarity over comfort, whether I chose to stand inside my voice or step outside of it to be accepted. And for the first time, I chose myself, not loudly, not dramatically, but deliberately. I started with small moments, saying no without a long explanation, finishing my sentences without softening them, letting silence sit instead of rushing to fill it. And it felt terrifying because when you've spent years shrinking your voice, expansion feels like exposure. It feels like standing naked in a room that was once dimly lit. But something else happened too. For the first time, I felt congruent. My words matched my thoughts. My tone matched my intention. My voice felt like mine again. And that's when I realized vocal authority is not something you perform. It is something you reclaim. It's what happens when your voice is no longer filtered through fear, but anchored in truth. And the world may not always like that version of you, but they will recognize it because a woman who speaks from alignment doesn't need to raise her voice. Her presence does it for her. Now, you know the truth, and knowing is no longer enough. If you don't want to spend another year shrinking your voice to fit into spaces that were never designed for your truth, then you need to act. Not someday, not when you feel ready. Now, here is your escape plan. First, stop apologizing for existing. Remove sorry from sentences where you've done nothing wrong. Every unnecessary apology is a signal that your presence needs permission. It doesn't. Second, say what you mean in one clean sentence. No softening, no buffering, no emotional padding. Clarity is power, and power does not stutter. Third, let silence do its work. After you speak, don't rush to fill the gap. Don't explain yourself into exhaustion. Hold your ground. Let your words land. Fourth, set one boundary this week using your voice, not through avoidance, not through hints, direct, calm, unshaken. And finally, listen to yourself. Record your voice, not to judge it, but to face it. Because the moment you stop avoiding your own sound is the moment you stop avoiding yourself. This is your line. You are not here to be agreeable. You are here to be undeniable. If you choose to reclaim your voice, then mark this moment. Not for me, for you. Write it down. I decide to be heard. Because the day you stop asking for permission to speak is the day your life starts answering to you.